Get ready with me while I tell you the story of how I snuck out freshman year and got completely stranded. So basically, to set this story off, I was dating this really chopped guy, but he was a year older than me. So like when you're younger, it's like, oh my god, this older guy wants me. Yes. So I was going. And at this point, we were already dating, probably for a few months. And he's just asking, like, it's a summer night, whatever. He's like, hey, do you want to do something? So basically, he's just asking, like, do you want to sing out tonight? And obviously, my freshman ass, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, come get me now. And we always went to the same place when we snuck out because in our city, it's like very big on loitering. Like, if a cop sees a car sitting somewhere in the middle of the night, he's gonna go up to it. And we're both under 18, so that would just be bad. So we go to this like secluded park, like far off in the city. And I mean, everything is jolly dandy. We're just having a good time. We had some friends over for a little bit. And then it gets like later in the night. And obviously, this is my boyfriend. Like, I want to stay with him the whole night. So we end up falling asleep in the car. Car is on. Whatever, we don't think anything of it. We have alarm set because obviously we both snuck out. We both have a certain time we need to be back home, and we're very far from my house. Like, genuinely over 30 minutes from my house. So it's probably about 4 something. We wake up, the alarms are going off. We're like, all right, it's time to go. Or actually, maybe the car was off and the heat was on or something. Because listen, we got up, we go to leave, the car would not start. It would not start. And like, we're at this secluded park. Nobody is around. So my boyfriend starts calling his friend who lives kind of nearby, probably about 10 minutes down the road. No answer, which it's 4 a.m. So no answer. And like, there's literally nothing we can do. Like, genuine, like, the car is dead. So my boyfriend takes off on foot to go to his house and wake him up. 10-minute drive, by the way. So while he's walking, I'm literally just sitting in the car, locked, stuck. My phone is alive, but it's just like, what? I'm supposed to be home? And eventually, I think on the way there, I think my boyfriend's phone died or something because I had no contact with him, like none, like that. I remember that so specifically. But eventually, after just sitting there forever, they pull up in his friend Mini Cooper and they're like trying to jump his car off. It's not working. So at this point, we got in the Mini Cooper, had to take me home. And by this point, my parents were 100% up. Like, I already knew that on the way back. My stepdad wakes up literally every morning at like 5 o'clock for work, which was the scary part because it's like they hadn't noticed I was missing. But if I walk through the door, which I don't have a window I can go through, if I walk through that door and they're there, what do I do? So this entire car ride back home, which is like 30 minutes, I'm just sitting there thinking about what I am going to do when I get back home. And we finally get on like the road to my house. Passing by us, my stepdad. I ducked in the backseat so fat, like y'all don't even know, I was probably in the floorboard. So finally we're at my house. I know that he's gone because he just left, but I know he's going to the store. He goes to the store every morning and then comes back. I know he's coming back. I sprint up the driveway, like full blown running up the driveway. I get to the door. I'm like looking in the windows. Mother, nowhere to be found. I open up that door quietly. And I genuinely have not snuck out since then, because that was the scariest moment of my life. But that is the story time. Bye, guys.
I'm going on a date with a boy today, and I've tried every excuse to get out of it. I don't want to go, and the reason why is because he's 19. How did we lose the plot so bad? Like, I'm about to be 22. Like, this is like, feels like a little predatory, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it feels wrong. But he's really nice. I haven't been on a date in a few months, so I'm like, why not? My friends were like, Amanda, in the grand scheme of things, it really is just 2 years. Yeah, but when someone's age still has the word teenager in it, it feels not okay. And then I feel bad. I'm like, should I even go on the date? Because I feel like I'm using him just to get like a free meal. My friend said it's okay because you know what, it's just one date. What's the harm? Getting myself out there, collecting some data. I just feel so far removed from that age range. Like, the guys I'm looking to date now are like mid-20s, like have a career, getting ready to settle down. It really is nice though. That's the thing that I feel bad. It's like, I would like to go on a date. He's a really nice kid. Kid. It's like, I keep wanting to call him kid. We were on the phone for a few hours last night, and the whole time I feel like I was making fun of his age. And the whole time he was like, I'm not that young. I'm 19. Like, it's like they unintentionally don't realize how they sound when they're trying to justify their age. It's because we've all been there trying to sound older than we are. And I don't know how to let that go. I've never dated younger. Well, no, not really. Like, dated someone a few months younger than me, but that was in high school, so it didn't really count. But I just don't really go for that, because I think men are already so mature where it's like, I need to be dating someone who's, I think, at least 2 years older than me, but ideally like 4. So this guy's going in the military in like a few months. Like, this isn't going anywhere anyways, so I'm just like, what's the point? But he really wants to go, and I felt bad rejecting, because I tried rejecting that like 5 times last night, saying, I don't know, I don't date younger, but it didn't work, and he still wants to go. So I feel like I've tried everything in my book. I tried convincing my friends that I don't want to go, but it didn't work either. Like, they're making me go, so I'm gonna go. I feel like my makeup's very Republican looking right now. Oh my god, this looks like crap. I'm not gonna lie, this looks so bad. I'm like trying to self-sabotage, and my bronzer's breaking. But this might give me practice like rejecting men, because I have only ever been rejected by them. So maybe it'll help me, because I already know how this day is gonna end. Or I might be like pleasantly surprised. Like, what if I have a part 2 to this? I'm like, oh my god, like, I'm gonna marry this kid. This dude, this guy, this man. Sorry, not kid. He's not a kid, he's 19, my god. So I think at the end of it, maybe I'm gonna have to send the text saying, hey dude, I'm sorry, I just don't think that this is gonna go anywhere, but it was nice meeting you. And I've never done that before. I've always been the one that's like dumped, you know? So I think it might help me gain like skills. Also, at this point, every man I go on a date with is just trash and garbage, so it really is just collecting data about men just for my own personal research. It's also supposed to snow today, so I'm thinking I can use that as my excuse to dip out early, you know? Like, oh, gotta beat the weather. Oh, don't want to get stuck on the highway when it's raining. So I have that. Let's fill in these eyebrows. I also don't really know like what this guy fully looks like. Like, what if he's like super short or super skinny? Like, has weird proportions, and I just don't know it. Like, I don't really know what he looks like. I'm scared. I hate being catfished. Happens more often than you would think. This is like the worst get ready with me ever. I feel like depressed about this. I know people in the comments are gonna be like, oh my god, you're a terrible human for going on a date with this guy and using him. Okay, so what? I told you I'm collecting data. Like, honestly, I think this is the way that the ecosystem revolves, is that, like, you know, men do us dirty, so we use them in return and we get something out of it. But at the end of the day, I'm just a girl who craves attention like every other one, so can you sue me? Since this makeup sucks anyways, I'm not gonna finish on camera, but I'll keep you updated on how the day goes. Okay, update, I finished my makeup. It looks like garbage, but he just called and canceled and told me that he forgot that he actually works today in 2 hours, so there's just like no way we can hang out. He said, can we hang out after? I said, no, it's like storming, I'm not doing that. I said, we can reschedule. So we'll see if that happens, but this is exactly why I don't date younger. There's already a lack of maturity with men, and they don't know how to communicate. Like, why didn't you know that you worked today? You know, you're like wasting my time. Okay, that's it, bye. This is the update about the 19-year-old boy that I didn't want to go on a date with. And I wrote them all down so I wouldn't forget. So I relapsed. I kept talking to him because I'm an individual who craves attention. We've been over this. I'm all about doing things for the plot, and so I figured this might be funny if I kept talking to him, see where it went, even though he disrespected my boundaries and canceled plans on me, which I absolutely hate when men do. That I did FaceTime him again last night, and we talked for about 2 hours straight, and the whole time we just sat in silence, and I scrolled on Instagram Reels while he was playing his video games. That to me though is like the perfect scenario. I love just sitting on a phone call, not speaking. I think what I liked the most is that he didn't speak and I didn't have to talk to him. I just liked the company of having someone there, and it made me realize that I miss having a boyfriend. And I did talk to him a little bit. Okay, I told him that I switched over to Pinterest, and then I went back to Instagram Reels, and then I went to TikTok, and then he just like said, oh, okay, cool. Like, he didn't really care. He doesn't really speak. But yeah, that's another thing I don't like about him, is that he's silent. I've only dated guys that are quiet and don't like have a personality, and I'm tired of it. I want someone who gives off what I give, bounces back my energy, cracks jokes, make me laugh, is like entertaining. I'm tired of being the only entertaining one in a relationship. So I always comment about that. I'm like, you literally don't speak and you're tiring me. Why am I on this phone call with you? And then it occurred to me, oh my god, he's not wearing his headset while playing the game with his boys. Am I ruining his boy time? So I said, hey, like, do you want to play games with him? Like, you can put your headset back on. Like, it really makes no difference to me because I'm ignoring you anyways. But he was like, no, like, I want to talk to you. Like, I don't want to have my headset on right now. Like, I want to like spend time with you. I was like, okay, this feels very high school. My light died. Also, I forgot I had banana pudding sitting next to me. It doesn't look so good. I made it myself. Put whipped cream, nuts, wafers with it. Oh my god, let's take a bite. Okay. That's so good. Yes, it felt very high school. Like, why are you still playing video games? I literally hate when men play video games. It's like the worst quality you could ever have. I think it's weird that you're rotting away like on your computer, like raging for hours on a controller. I think it's disgusting. It was nice because I didn't have to like fight for his attention. That's never happened to me before. I'm always having to fight for a male's attention while they're playing. Their game comes first, their boys come first, and then I come second. But I definitely feel like the dynamic here is that like I can do whatever I want, and then because I'm gorgeous and I'm the only girl that he's probably talking to, then he just will do whatever I say. Although I did tell him to tell his friends that I said hi, and he didn't do it. He said he would, but he didn't, so he's a liar. He's also hiding me from them. He's deceitful, and he's probably embarrassed of me, so I hate that, and I resent him for that. Next, he got off the game, and we got on the topic about how he canceled the date, and he said he was sad because he has to wait an entire week to see me again. Oh my god, he actually believed me when I said we can reschedule the date. I halfway meant it because I was low-key like jumping up and down whenever he told me that he actually worked that day. Like, I was like, oh, thank god, like the universe has my back. Like, the only thing that's getting him through this winter storm where we're all stuck inside our houses is because of the hope of seeing me next week. Like, that's sad. The thing I'm looking most forward to doing after the snow melts is going to the gym. Like, that's 4 whole days that I'm gonna skip out on the Stairmaster. My booty's gonna start shrinking. So anyways, I thought it was very cute that he was like, oh, I can't wait to see you, but also you're the one that canceled, so that's kind of your fault, right? And then, will we even make it that far is my next question, you know? Probably not. And then I think that he likes me a lot more than I like him is what I'm realizing, which is, they say that that's what you should want. Like, the boy should want the girl more and you should just respect them, because when it's the other way around, you end up chasing the guy, and that's not healthy. That's every relationship I've ever been in. But unfortunately, I do like toxic men, so I don't love this dynamic. The only thing I like about it though is being in control and being super blunt. I can say and do anything I want, and he just eats it up, right? Because he's like younger and I'm the older one, and he thinks that's so hot to have this like age difference. And he's like, you know, like men love cougars, I guess. Like like I'm Priyanka Chopra, he's my Nick Jonas. I don't know how I feel about that. I haven't really been in this situation before. It feels like I'm babysitting. It just gives high school to me. Every time I catch myself like enjoying a conversation with this guy, then I remember, oh my god, he literally graduated a year ago, you know? Like, this feels wrong. Also, I didn't mention this, but I didn't even know his age was until 2 days ago when I called him for the first time. And before I even asked, I just kind of had a feeling, because of the way they hold themselves and the way they speak. It's just, you know, that they were born after 2007. It's just obvious. I keep making fun of him, and I keep calling him like a Gen Beta, Gen Alpha, and he just hates it. Like, he's like, oh, we're doing this again. Yes, baby, like, we're doing this again because you're a child. He doesn't even know my references. He doesn't get it. The only thing he gets is 6'7". I don't know like what to do about that. You don't even know that Disney Channel existed. So it's just like really hard for me to even connect with someone on that like level. Next, whenever we were getting ready to hang up, he said that he would text me good morning, and he wanted me to text him good morning too. What do I look like? Like, I'm not texting you good morning. And I said that. He was like, what? Like, you're not gonna text me good morning? I said, I'll think about it. And he said, no, you're gonna like do it. Like, I said, okay, well, if you text me first, then I'll respond. And he said, no, you had to text me first. Again, am I your mom? Am I your mom checking up on you? And obviously he needs that influence in his life because he's still a baby, but I just can't be that for him. Anyways, this morning I woke up at like 1 p.m. because I like was FaceTiming another guy until like 5:30 in the morning. So that's another story though. I woke up very late, so technically it wasn't even morning anymore. Am I supposed to say good afternoon? But I didn't wake up to a message either, so he's a liar again. And I think he was waiting for me to say good morning. I'm not doing that. Not doing that. And when I woke up this morning, I saw that my part 1 of this video started blowing up, and I was like, shoot, maybe he didn't text me today because he saw that. I didn't really care because I have no like real connection with this guy, so it's like, whatever, content, right? He started snapping me like a few hours ago, and I was like, okay, so he's alive, he's there, and he doesn't hate me. He was smiling, so he must be happy. And right before I started filming this video, he started texting me all these game pitching games, like we're playing pool, archery, and cup pong now, I guess. I guess he hasn't seen my TikTok yet, which is great. That means there will be a part 3 if I call him again tonight, which I probably will because I want to give you guys some content. That's my update. I don't know if I should keep toying around with this guy. I feel kind of bad about it, but also, I mean, again, we're just collecting data here about men. I'm learning a lot more about like why exactly I choose to date older, but also dating older isn't always a win. I've dated a lot of guys that are older and the immaturity level is still there. So I don't know, should I just date younger because it's more fun, or am I looking for something more serious? I'm not sure because this guy is fun, he's cute, whatever, but I just feel like I'm immortalizing myself as like a college kid still, and I'm just not. I've graduated college already. I feel like, well, there's not a lot of things to talk about because we're just in 2 different stages of life with different priorities. Like, he dropped out of college and he's running to the military now because he doesn't know what to do with his life, which is fine, that's a valid career choice, but so he's just starting that, and I have already finished, and I'm looking forward to the rest of my career now. I'm making steps towards that. So what future is that? Anyways, there is no future. There never was one here. It was always going to be like a 2-month stint until he left the military, and even now I don't see us planning a first date. Well, maybe I probably will meet him next week, unless he sees this TikTok and it all blows up in my face, then probably not. So that's my update. Stay tuned for part 3, maybe, cross your fingers. This has to take the cake as the funniest way I've ever been asked out before. Ever since I posted the video 2 days ago about that 19-year-old boy that I did not want to go on a date with, people have been throwing themselves at me in my DMs, which, I mean, can't say I hate that, but this one takes the cake for sure. He said, hear me out. I saw your TikTok and that you went on a date with a gentleman that's younger than you. I'm 26 and I see that you're gorgeous. Let's go on a date sometime. No one has ever like emailed me before. That could either be the creepiest thing ever or like the beginning of a love story. You know what I'm saying? And I love that he's a devoted fan. I hope that he gave me a follow on TikTok. Thanks for your support, Jordan. So of course I had to respond. I said, wait, this is the funniest way someone's ever asked me out. I love that you emailed me. Can you attach a photo of your likeness and drop that Insta handle? Because sir, you can't just email me and I know nothing about you. You know what I'm saying? I need a little bit more than you're 26 and you want to take me on a date, you know? I mean, let's be real. Every 26-year-old in Dallas, Texas wants to take me on a date. Anyways, and then I signed off and I said, stay warm because it's really chilly outside, you guys. It's snowing in Texas, so I hope that was a nice regard. Anyways, stay tuned for part 2. If you're watching this, Jordan, drop a little comment. I await your response. Can't wait to see where this goes. This is putting in effort. I would love for more men to just email me with all their qualifications of why they deserve to go on a date with me. That's way better than sliding in my DMs, in my opinion.
So, I lost my mom in December. She was a single mom. She did everything for me. And I just, I just wanted to talk about her for a second. I started journaling. I got a new journal because, I basically have like a whole new life now. And so I got a new journal and I started I put my first entry in. Basically just all about her and, what happened. In December 2025, on Christmas Eve, actually, is when my mom got the phone call saying that she had blood cancer. And the funny thing is, I didn't know that blood cancer and leukemia were different. But, most of the time blood cancer forms into leukemia. Which is what happened. I was in a horrible relationship at the time. Horrible man, constantly cheating on me. Whatever. But my mom was in and out of the hospital a lot. And, so February, she wasn't there on my birthday because she was in the hospital, but she sent me flowers and, I don't think she was there for New Year's either, but I would always call her, we would always talk, I'd visit her, but I was taking care of my little brother at the time,
And obviously he does not live with me now. He lives with our old next door neighbors. Really good Christian family. He's in a really good place. But yeah, so things just kept getting worse, and she had actually already beat lung cancer 2 years prior to this, I think. And during this time, I was obviously super depressed. I had just gone through a really horrible relationship. I was taking care of my 7-year-old brother as a 19-year-old, and also my sick mom. And me and my mom were both really angry, and we definitely took that out on each other, and that's something I will regret for the rest of my life, because a lot of the moments that we had leading up to her death were not great. But I spent Thanksgiving alone as well. But on January 29th, I remember we had called each other 3 times that night. I was making my family's famous stuffing for the guy I was seeing, because he was coming over that night to keep me company. And we were just laughing, we were talking shit. It was awesome. And the next morning, she called me, and it was really hard for her to talk. That's how fast shit changes. It was really hard for her to talk. But she managed to tell me that that my family was driving in, flying in, and that I needed to go to the hospital. So when I got there, they told me that it was a matter of weeks or days. And so this was a Monday. And so basically all of us would spend almost the entire day at the hospital. And, I didn't cry a lot at the hospital. Everybody else was crying, and I felt like I needed, to be the more strong one. But I would go home at night, and I would just break down because I didn't understand, why it's happening to, the best person I know. Genuinely, I wish, I could just, put a PowerPoint of her entire life. Because, genuinely, she was the best person. She took care of me by herself for 19 years. Mind you, she was born with a heart condition. She's been sick, but she took care of me, and then my brother, and, she gave me a great life. Even though when I was a teenager, I was a fucking shithead, she gave me a great life. And I just don't understand why bad things happen to good people. And I still don't. But basically, Thursday night, I stayed overnight at the hospital. And, I was tired. I didn't get good sleep. I was thinking I was going to go home pretty soon, the next morning. And I remember my mom, I told her I was probably going to leave soon, and she grabbed me and she asked me to stay. So I stayed for another 2 hours, and then I went home. And then the next morning, I got a call at 6 a.m. Hey, not looking too good. You should get here soon. And she was at a hospital in Dallas, which was 35 minutes away from my house. And so I'm okay, I'll be there soon. And not even 5 minutes later, they called me and they said that she was gone. And so it was my mom and my best friend and the only person who took care of me was gone, and I didn't get to say goodbye. Of course, over that week, I was telling her, how much I loved her, and how sorry I was for, taking my anger out on her. And it's and from Monday to Saturday, I didn't get, one last good conversation with my mom. She was very out of it. She was very sick. She was very weak. I don't know. And, you know, the next month I was at her funeral, and then I had a new car, a new number, a new apartment in a new city. And that is all thanks to her. Everything I have right now is because she set me up. She really set me up for greatness. And I had no doubt that she would. But yeah, everything is thanks to her, and I wish I could thank her. I'm so sorry. Oh my god. I'm just absolutely bawling my eyes out. Yeah, no, but everything I have here is thanks to her, and you know what? I really wish she could see it. I bought a couch. I bought all the decor in my house. I think she really would have loved it. And, you know, I really hope she can, like, oh my god. I really hope that she can see it now. I really hope she can. Yeah, but my mom was a great person, and words can't describe how much I miss her and how much I love her. And, you know, I'm just really hoping that she is with God and she's happy now and she's not in pain. And I know she's probably looking at me like, stop fucking crying. Why are you crying? Gosh, thank you.
Walked out on a first date, and I want to know what you would have done in this situation. So I live in Dallas, and the dating is horrible here. If you know, you know. But for those of you who don't know, be blessed. You don't have to deal with these men out here, these boys out here. I could make a whole series out of this, but this is just a first for me, and I genuinely want to know what the girls would have done. I matched with this guy online, kind of texted throughout the week, FaceTimed, like we obviously both showed interest in each other. So he originally wanted to meet last night for dinner, but he did tell me that he had his hair appointment, and so like we would play it by ear, yada yada yada. He ended up calling me. He was still getting his hair done, so he was like, let's do brunch in the morning, which would have been this morning. Thank you for communicating. See you at brunch. This morning we're still texting and calling. He's like, I made reservations at noon, like can't wait to see you, yada yada yada. Cool. I get there, he gets there, he's cute, I'm excited. We walk into the restaurant, walk to our seats. This is where it all goes downhill. So we walk to the booth, he gestures me to sit, I sit in, and then he moves in next to me. The waitress comes over, greets us, and says, is it just gonna be the two of us? I go, yeah. He says, actually, no. What do you mean, no? He goes, there's actually gonna be 4 of us. I thought he was joking. So I'm like kind of giggling, and the waitress is like, okay, cool, I'll leave the 4 waters. I'm caught off guard because I'm like, this is a first date, what do you mean 4? He then is like giggling and says, no, like my buddy calls me, and he was going on a first date too. I told him I was going on a first date, and so he just was like, let's make the reservation for 4. Like, I don't know you, and now I'm meeting 2 new people? What? So I'm completely blindsided by the fact that no, this is no longer a first date. This is now a first double date. That's not what I signed up for. Like, I don't want to be here anymore. No tea, no shade. Like, I was so excited to get to know you, get to know who you are, because I don't even know anything about you. I'm a very honest and blunt person. I think it caught him off guard that I was like, whoa, what? Like what the fuck? So why'd you tell me while I was cornered in a booth and now I'm trapped? Like, I feel uncomfortable. Like, this is weird. I don't know you. I don't want to know your friends. Don't get me wrong. I love to kiki, get to know my date's friends on a 3rd, 4th, maybe 5th date. But first date, this is the first time I'm seeing the man in the flesh. He was very apologetic, obviously, once I told him that this is not what I came here for and like I'm gonna go. And of course he was like, yeah, please leave before my friends get here so I can make him an excuse on why you left. And I said, no, you're gonna tell him the truth, that you blindsided me and lied to me and said that this was a first date when in reality you knew this was a double date. What kind of setup is this? This is weird. Bye. Bye. I want to know what you ladies would have done. I personally have no shame to get up and leave if I need to, because I just don't want to waste any time. It's a beautiful Saturday and I would have just wasted my day away pretending to be interested. I left and I got to enjoy my Saturday, and I just want to know what you girls would have done. Part 2 of walking out on a first date. Some people are saying that like they agree with me, they would have walked out immediately. Some people are saying they would have stayed for the plot, or they would have stayed and waited for the girl to see if she was okay. A lot of people said that they would have stayed for the free meal. I mean, hey, to each their own. For me, I left because I was not informed of these plans until he waited until the waitress came up to take our drink order. And I did not order a drink. I was thrown off. And we did kind of go back and forth for a little bit because he was like, I want you to stay. I was just like, yeah, but you're not getting the point. Like, I'm not staying because you blindsided me. Like, this wasn't the plan. Like, I don't know you, sir. And I'm not gonna pretend to like be your little girlfriend or like whatever this is. Like, I truly have no idea. Thank you to everyone saying their opinions, because I genuinely, like, I didn't know what to do in the moment. I just knew I didn't want to be there anymore, so I got up and left. He's got to know that like he dropped the ball. Like, that was just not cool. Maybe, again, some women said that they were into it and would have stayed. Maybe this has happened before and has worked out like for him in the past. I'm not sure. As a young woman who's dating herself, like, I just want to say a reminder that it is okay to have high standards and boundaries, and speaking up for yourself, I feel like, is so very important. But yeah, hopefully moving forward, I don't have that many crazy stories, but you just never know. I mean, dating nowadays, yeah. I'm just gonna give everyone a moment of silence for dating. Moving forward, I don't want any more crazy first date, second date, dating stories at all, but yeah.
I found out I was adopted when I was 13 by going through my mom's desk and finding my adoption papers. Up until this point, my dad was my dad and I didn't know any different. My parents got married when I was around 1. I had never really questioned the story because at 13 you just don't think about certain things. In retrospect, I probably should have had more questions. My mom and my dad both have brown eyes. I have blue eyes. I actually remember being in 6th grade and we did like the recessive traits and all that and kind of the alleles charts. And my teacher was probably thinking, uh-oh, there's something here, but I never connected the dots. And again, when you're 13, you're just not looking for that kind of drama, or you don't think to question anything. Another flag that should have been raised for me was my mom had me when she was 17. She got pregnant with me when she was 16. My dad is 8 years older than my mom, and never did it cross my mind that that would have been a pretty sus situation back in the day. I was born in December of 89. So I was home by myself and just being nosy and bored, and went through my mom's desk, and probably in a locked cabinet, I probably found a key somewhere and opened it and found my birth certificate and my adoption papers. Interestingly enough, the adoption papers were not signed until I was 6 years old, but I had always, in my entire memory, had always gone by my dad that raised me, his last name. So that just tells you how different the 90s were, because now, I was registered at school, always had, my maiden name, my dad's last name, my entire childhood. And at no point do I ever remember having my mom's maiden name as my last name, but that was my legal last name until I was 6. So I call my mom in a panic. She's at work. And this was back in the day when you would like call and ask the receptionist for your mom and get transferred. And you would ask if you could eat the last popsicle or something stupid, because, we didn't have cell phones. But I called, got through to her, and I said, who is, we'll call him Joe Smith. Who is Joe Smith? And she immediately said, what? Why? And I said, who is this? And I think I maybe told her that I found the papers, and she said, I'll be right there. I'll be home in 20 minutes. Well, she worked like 30 minutes away, so I know she drove like a bat out of hell to get home. So anyway, she came home and she told me that she had gotten pregnant in high school, that my biological dad was dating a girl in high school that he ended up getting married to. And I guess he had cheated on her with my mom. And when she told him that she was pregnant, he was about to go to college on a football scholarship, and he didn't want anything to do with me or the pregnancy. And my mom, this is a story for another day, but, she kind of likes to tell stories in a way that, sound the best. So she told me that she never pushed on that because she didn't want to share me with anyone. So she basically had that one conversation with him, and that was all there was to it. And then she never talked to him about it again until she got married to my dad. And then she started reaching out to him so that my dad could legally adopt me. And she said that for years he would not sign the papers because what if he changed his mind? I don't really know exactly how true that story is, but that's the story that I was given. And apparently at some point in 96, he decided that he wasn't going to change his mind, or told himself that this was better for me. I don't know, but he signed the papers. It was formalized, and that was all there was to it. When I found out about him, my mom says she reached out to him because I just wanted to know who he was. I wanted to know. We live in Central Arkansas. It's a small state. And the older I get, the more so I even realize how small it is. And I didn't, at the time I was like, I don't want to marry a sibling, or what if there's a history of some kind of disease, or what. I just wanted to know about my family. So she reached out to him and let him know that I had found out about the situation. And he at the time did not want to meet me. No one in his family knew about me. He was still married to the girl from high school. And I did not end up meeting him until I was 18 years old. And long story short, he ended up not being my biological father, but I proceeded to think that he was for 4 more years, where we had some part of a relationship. And there's more to that story, but you can come back for part 2. All right, finding out that I was adopted, part 2. So at 18 years old, my mom was actually in a federal women's prison at this time, and that's, again, another story for another day. But I was in college full-time and working full-time at a CPA firm. So honestly, doing relatively well for an 18-year-old. I had a pretty good head on my shoulders. But I reached out again to my biological dad. At this time, I did this on my own, not through my mom, and told him that, hey, I don't want anything from you. I just want to know more about my background, my family. I know they lived, Central Arkansas is kind of divided up into, there's Little Rock, North Little Rock, but it's all kind of the same city essentially. And so he was relatively close. And of course I had done some internet research and knew he was, still married to the girl from high school. At this time, I could find that they had 3 children that were, quite a bit younger than I was, but I had what I thought were siblings. And, he was doing pretty well, was pretty successful business person in town. And so looking back on it, I feel so sad for myself because I approached this whole story as we go through it very much as, I don't want anything. I'm not trying to get anything out of you. I just want to know who I am. I just want to know about my family. I want to know who's out there, about my background, about my siblings, whatever. But I was so non-threatening, and I just did not want anyone to think I was trying to get anything from them. But he and I ended up going to lunch at a Chili's and met for the first time, which, God, it was such an emotional experience and so scary. And I, was doing it by myself and really didn't have anyone to talk to about it or anyone that could relate. And then also going through the stuff with my mom at the time too. again, I look back on it and I feel like a completely different person, and I just want to go back and hug that poor girl. But, you know, I walked in confident and proud and kind, and, you know, just asked him about his life and why he didn't want to be part of mine. And I mean, there really wasn't a good answer other than he just didn't want to mess things up for himself. What was very interesting was that I found out at this time that he actually had another daughter that was like 6 months older than me. My name's Bailey Elizabeth. This girl's name was Haley Elizabeth, by a completely different woman. But he had found out about that pregnancy, had claimed it, had every other weekend custody of her whole life. And I guess then when like a second pregnancy came up, that was like, oh, I just can't handle that one. I don't know what the reasoning was there. So he had raised her, or at least been part of her life, and he did allow me to reach out to her. But he just didn't want his wife or his younger children to know about me. So I reached out to her. She and I had a relationship. Again, I look back on the things that I accepted as a young woman, and I was just, I think, so hungry to be accepted and not feel rejected and not take it personally that I guess I was just thankful that he let me reach out to her. So she and I kind of had a relationship. We were friendly. She was super excited to find out that she had a sister. You know, we were very close in age, so definitely had a lot of things in common. But one thing that stood out about that time frame was when I would talk to her about him, she empathized with me, but she was always so defensive of him. I think he was a really good dad to her and was active in her life, and she was very protective of him. So even here recently in the last year, I've reached out to her, which she and I are, we'll get to it later, but we're not in contact anymore. But I'd reached out and said, hey, I'm thinking about sharing my story. You know, what would you think about that? And honestly, she responded and said that she didn't really want me to, because she didn't want him to be painted in a negative light. And that's just so wild to me, because it's like, maybe he was a good dad to you, but for 22 years, he thought he was my biological father, and he had nothing to do with me. He provided no support. He, you know, which again, my dad that raised me adopted me, you know, at one, technically legally at 6, but you know, that's so crappy. And again, I was just so anxious to be accepted and not feel rejected that I never stood up to her. I never pushed back. I never said, you know, hey, well, that might be your story, but that's not mine. So even a year ago when I reached out to her, I thought, okay, well, you know, I'm not going to share this. And even now I'm not sharing his name, you know, but it's just really crappy that, you know, she still couldn't see it from my perspective. And, you know, two things can be true. He could have been a really good dad to her and a really horrible one to me. But anyway, so we went on for 4 more years from 18 to 22, where I had very minimal contact with him. He would text me once in a blue moon. I suspected it was when he had been drinking, but he was definitely not part of my life at all. And then when I was 22, I went to a Razorback baseball game with coworkers, and I'd had a couple of beers. I was 22. I wasn't a drinker yet, so those probably 2 beers got to me. I saw him walk by, and like, I think he was going to concession, and we made eye contact, and he knew who I was, and he didn't acknowledge me. Well, then he walked back by me again, and we made eye contact again, and I went and flagged him down. And I said, hey, what's your problem? Like, I haven't asked anything of you. I think the least you could do is stop and acknowledge me and ask me how I'm doing. You know, like, I'm 22 at this point. I'd graduated college. I had an accounting job. I was doing pretty well. Never had asked for anything of him. And so that just really pissed me off, honestly, that he would just walk by and not even acknowledge me. So I'd had a couple of beers, and I said, well, what's the problem? Do you not think I'm yours? And he said, well, I mean, I don't know. You know, DNA tests weren't common back then. I mean, we've never done one. And I said, well, let's do it. So we went, we went to like an actual brick and mortar DNA testing place in town, and he went by himself, and then I went by myself. And then like a week or so later, I went back to pick up the results with my mom, and I had her in the front seat before we went in, and I said, Mom, tell me right now if there's any chance at all that this test is going to come back negative. I need to know. Any chance at all, just tell me now. We'll work through it. We'll figure it out. But if you tell me now that there's no chance that it's going to be negative and it comes back negative, I will never speak to you again. Well, joke's on me because we still speak. So come back for part 3.
I mean, yeah, your color analysis says you look good in light blue, but your bad personality makes you look like a bitch and everything. So don't know how to help you with that.
This is part 3 of finding out that I was adopted, finding out who my biological father was, then finding out he was not my biological father, finding yet another biological father, finding out that he was actually my father, and then now we don't speak. So we left off where I was 22 years old going to get a DNA test with the man that up until that point in my life thought he was my biological father. He'd signed off on adoption papers for my dad who raised me to adopt me formally. He sat on those papers for 6 years before he actually signed them. I didn't meet him until I was 18. Then we had limited contact for 4 years following that. And at 22, I confronted him at an event that I ran into him at and said, what's your deal? Do you not think I'm yours? And that prompted a DNA test. I went to pick up the results of the DNA test with my mother, sat in the car with her and said, hey, if there's any chance he's not my biological father, you need to tell me now and we'll work through it. And if it comes back negative, we'll figure it out. But if you don't tell me now and it comes back negative, I will never speak to you again. And like I said in the last video, joke was on me because surprise, he was not my biological father. There was a 0.00001% match, which basically just means we're both white. At that point, my mom swore up and down that there was absolutely no way that test was accurate. He had a family member, I don't know if it was like a brother or cousin, I don't know, but another male in his family that was close in age to him that they almost looked like twins. And so she swore that he must have sent him in with his ID. And I said, Mom, DNA doesn't work that way. It still would have shown a familial match. But for the next 2 weeks, she swore that either something was wrong with the test or basically said she would have had to have been date raped. Because there was just absolutely no way else that he wasn't my father. And honestly, I compartmentalize and disassociate from stuff, I think, pretty well. It's probably maybe not a good trait, but I'm 36 now and it served me fine. So I usually handle situations pretty well and take things on the chin and just move along. But actually this next 2 weeks was really, really tough on me. Not ever knowing, potentially never knowing who my biological father was, and then the subsequent family and history and all that. Just it really, I was more upset probably in that 2 week period of my life than almost any other period of life I've ever gone through. But then my mom shows up at my work one day, calls me out to the parking lot, rolls her window down, hands me a cheek swab, and I see the other half of a DNA test completed and sealed in her passenger seat, and she tells me to swab my cheek, and she won't tell me who the other half of the test is for, but she sends it out, comes back as a match. And again, I love my mom. We have a very complicated history. As I've gotten older, I've gone through phases of being more upset with her about the situation, and then, having children of my own, it made it harder for me to understand. But now, again, my children are a little bit older now. She's really good with them. I can't change the past, and I try to give her more empathy for being a teen mom, and, again, can't change the past. So anyway, this is one thing that still does sting quite a bit, because we went 2 weeks with her telling me that there's nobody else it could possibly be. And then she magically remembers some guy, goes to his used car dealership, and pretends that she's there to buy a car for my younger sister. And then just conveniently says oh, I don't know if you knew this, but I have an older daughter. I think she might be yours. So he takes this DNA test. It comes back positive. We get connected. He had been married previously and had 2 children with the woman that would have been my stepmom. But, we never knew each other while they were married. She and I are actually really close now. She's fantastic. Love her. But now he was remarried, and his new wife was pregnant, like heavily pregnant at the time. And she was not on board with the situation. The three of us, him and his wife and myself, we met at like a local barbecue joint. And as soon as we sat down, she made me take a DNA test in front of her. And like, I get, as a wife, you know, if my husband had a kid pop up out of nowhere, I'd probably want that secondary validation too. But the way that she did it was really demeaning, and just could have been handled differently. You know, none of this was my fault. I mean, honestly, like backtracking to when I found out that this other guy was not my father, I was so embarrassed. Like that was so embarrassing. And I didn't have any control over that. I didn't know, but I was so humiliated, and I immediately just like never talked to him again, which I'm sure he was happy to not hear from me. But there's just so much to unpack with the emotions of all of this. But so we go to this barbecue joint, we meet, take the second DNA test. It comes back positive too. And over the years now, and this is where me and my mom have really struggled, we went from her not thinking there was anybody else that could possibly be my father to her remembering this guy, to now it's been 14 years since this happened. And the stories have slowly evolved to he was the love of her life. And he went off to basic training, and he was a couple years older than her, and she was in high school, and they wrote letters back and forth. And if she had known that he was my father, she would have told him, because, you know, she loved him so much. And I took a baby photo of myself from my childhood home when I moved out, and it was like this old school frame with a little pin in it. And one day I was like cleaning or something, knocked it over, and the frame fell apart. And behind my baby photo was their prom photo. So to this day, I don't know that I really believe that my mom didn't know that he was my biological father. I've kind of told her my boundaries. I don't want to talk about it with her. She doesn't get to ask me about them. She doesn't get to ask me about him. We don't talk about it, because it got to the point where she would ask me, oh, well, you know, how's he doing? And, you know, would tell me these stories about them in high school and they're dating. And I'm like, but you didn't even remember this guy, you know, whatever. So that's just something for me. We just have to not talk about to be able to have an ongoing relationship. But there still is a lot of frustration and distrust there. But anyway, the relationship with my now biological father, there's been some really great parts of it. Like I mentioned, he had 2 sons. They are the same ages as the 2 siblings that I grew up with through my mom. And I'm kind of closer to them because we grew up together. But when I met these 2 brothers, we're like 3 peas in a pod. We get along so well. We're super, super close. But from day one, my biological father never really embraced me. And I think mostly because of his wife, which he's a grown man, so it's completely his fault. But he was essentially scared of her. She was never warm or welcoming to me. I got occasional invitations to family things, most of the time at the last minute. So I went through that for, like I said, it's been 14 years now. I guess 13 because we stopped talking a year ago. But after 13 years of just kind of being treated like the redheaded stepchild, I kind of finally stood up for myself, and we had a falling out, and I can talk about that more in the next video. But anyway, that's the story of how I found out I was adopted, found out who my biological father was, found out he was not my biological father, found the new biological father, and now I've kind of lost that one too. But stick around for part 4.
What's the most insane lie an ex ever told you and expected you to believe? I don't mean like I was working late. I mean truly pathological.
I was supposed to be on a date right about now, and instead I'm sitting in my car eating some french fries, waiting for my friend to get ready to go to the bar. This would have been a second date. It should have never made it to a second date. Let's start there. We matched on a dating app, talked for about 2 weeks. Actually, we talked for a while before that. Lost touch. He re-added me on Snapchat. That should have been a red flag. I know. Hold on, we need a Diet Coke break. Crisp. Only thing satisfying me tonight. Only thing. So, first date. We talked for about 2 weeks. We decided to plan a date. He's like calling me. We talk every day. Definitely love bombing. But I'm like, you know what? I would love bomb you too. I'm just saying. I'm still a little on edge. Like, I don't know about this, right? So he's like, okay, let's plan a date. I said, okay, perfect. First red flag. Well, one of the first red flags. He wanted to go to the movies for the first date. And I was like, not really my cup of tea, because what are we doing in a movie? You can't talk. You can't talk. You can't get to know each other. There's only 2 things you can do in a movie theater. Watch a movie or not watch a movie. Okay? Well, let me tell you something. He was not trying to watch no fucking movie. First, he was going to come to me because he lives in the city, but he works near me. Like, his job was near me. So he's like, well, we'll go by you. I was like, perfect. He's like, okay, well, actually, I have to work at 5 in the morning. And I was like, oh shit, that sucks. And you get up, and he works by me, but lives in the city. And it's like an hour away without traffic. So I was like, whew, dude, no worries. We can meet halfway. I can compromise. I can compromise. I shouldn't have fucking compromised. Cause then it turned into, well, actually, like, do you think you can come a little closer? I'm really sorry, but I really have to be up early, but I really want to see you. And it was a bit of a fucking pushover, I'll admit it. I was like, you know what? Fine. Yeah, sure. Let me know what the theater is, and I will meet you there. This theater ended up being 15 minutes away from his fucking house, mind you. So that's not even close to halfway. And so at first it was going to be at 6, and then it turned into 7, and then it turned into 7:30. And he was like, you know what? 7:45, I bought the tickets. I was like, initiative. The bar is on the fucking floor. So I'm like, okay, whatever, fine, let's go. Woohoo, yay, we're gonna go to the movies, right? Now, this is the first time we're meeting in person, but we've talked on the phone, we FaceTime, like, we text daily, we send each other pictures of each other daily. So, we get into the movie theater, he buys popcorn, a water. I was like, oh, cool, like, what movie are we seeing? He was like, honestly, I don't even know, it just had a lot of big names, and I really wanted to see it. I was like, cool, okay. So we go into this movie. Not a single fucking soul is in that fucking movie theater. I turned to him, I said, really wanted to see this movie, huh? He was like, yeah, I'm so surprised that it's empty. I was like, yeah, and you picked our seats? Yeah, that's this one. So you knew this was empty when you bought these tickets. So we're just walking up the stairs, and we keep going, we keep going, we keep going, we keep going, all the way to the tippy top, all the way to the middle, in an empty ass fucking movie theater. I should have known. I should have fucking known, you know? So we're watching the previews. I can feel the stare, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I literally remind him. I say, I've already told you, because I told him this. I tell every man this. I have a 3-date rule. Nothing is happening for 3 dates. We need to get to know each other before you know where I live, what, like, my insides look like. Like, we're not, it's 3 dates. There's always 3 dates. Always. That's the way it goes for me. Most of the time. So we're making out, whatever, and he's like, I know, like, I respect your boundaries. I was like, bar on the fucking floor. Bar on the floor. So then we got a little hot and heavy, whatever. Another couple walks in. I kid you not, when this man pulls back and starts to pout like this in his seat. Then we're sitting there watching this movie, and actually this movie is like good. Like, I was into it. I wish I could remember the name of it because I want to go back to watch it. But we're watching this movie, and he turns to me and goes, hey, you know, I had to be up really early, so we got to leave at like 9:45. I was like, he didn't get what he wanted out of what he was looking for. So he's like, I'm booking it. We gotta go. We gotta go. Now I know what you're thinking. You're like, Abby, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why did you agree to a second date with this guy? So we talked for like 2 days after, kind of just like mutually stopped talking. I was like, you know what? Hands washed. Great. No problem. I'm a firm believer that I don't block people because I want you to see how good I'm doing. So I don't block him. And then all of a sudden, like a month later, yesterday, I get a message. Okay? You want to go to the movies? I literally said, are you fucking kidding me? He's like, what? I go on this long spiel about how, like, I told him I was looking for something serious. He said he was looking for something serious. That was not serious. And he obviously was not like looking for the same attention I was, so this wasn't going to work. Basically, the gist of the story was, no, like, I'm sorry, you're right. I shouldn't have done that. I should have treated you better. I am serious about this. He was telling me some stuff about, like, personal issues. He was working on those personal issues, and then he brought that up, and he was like, well, I'm trying to make time for you now. Like, I promise, like, I'm in this. So I'm like, you know what? I talked to my friends, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, if I can get something out of this, let's just try it. Let's go for it. Why not? So I tell him, yeah. I'm like, okay, you know what? Like, fine. We can go on a date. Whatever. When do you want to go? And he's like, well, when are you free? I said, Thursday or Friday. He's like, perfect. Let's go tomorrow. I was like, okay, perfect. Okay, we'll go to dinner. And I was like, oh, perfect. We can talk and, like, not put our hands where they're not supposed to be, you know? We make this plan for dinner, okay? Now, mind you, he doesn't work today. I'm at work all day. He's Snapchatting me all day, texting me all day. I know what his day is because he's literally telling me all day what he's doing. So I know for a fact this man got up around 11:30, went to the gym, went to the movies, did some studying, and then he went home. So I text him, I say, I'm home for my meeting. I'll be ready at 6:30. He said, okay, cool, I'm gonna get dressed and then I'll leave. I was like, perfect, right? That was like 5:30. Takes about an hour to get to me, right? I shower, get ready, put myself together. And I get a Snapchat from him. I open it. He's laying in bed and it says, oh, I probably should get up. I said, yeah, you probably should. What are you doing? It's 6 o'clock. And he goes, yeah, I felt really lazy. And I said, so are we moving this back? Or what the fuck is happening? And he responds with, let's just do tomorrow, babe. I was like, and honestly, I'm a crash out. I'll be so real with you. I'm working on it. I am a crash out. I am a long text bitch till I die. Like, if you look at my notes app, I have a whole page of just crash outs that I've had that I type out before I send them. So I'm a recovering crash out. I'm working on it, okay? I'm working on it. So I get ready. I send this long ass message. And I did say, I was like, so you're going to tell me that you feel too lazy, so you're going to try to cancel this date after all you did today was go to the gym and go to the movies. And then he pulls the spiel. Well, I had a long week and I really do want to put an effort into you, but I'm just really struggling right now. And so I get that text ready. I delete it all. Actually, I sent it and then I deleted it because I like that. It gives a little, like, what the fuck did she say? And then I say, actually, forget it. I made myself plans. Have a good night. And left it at that. So that is the story of why I'm not on a date right now at Texas Longhorn, when honestly, it's fine. Because to be real with you, it wasn't even a Longhorn to begin with, so